BXB. It's in the game!
Hey guys, it's me Ben, back with another one of my off-the-cuff reviews here at BXB Games. This time I'm looking at Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands. This has come under a lot of flack, actually, over the last couple of weeks, probably because it came out at the same time as massive PS4 exclusive Horizon Zero Dawn, and then the Switch Wii U exclusive Zelda Breath of the Wild. So one's asking oneself, is there room for yet another cookie-cutter Ubisoft open-world experience? And that's a bit unfair because I think inherently there isn't really that much wrong with Ghost Recon Wildlands. It is a little bit cut and paste, but that doesn't make it a bad game. The word that keeps coming to mind when I describe this game to people is unremarkable, which isn't exactly a positive word, but it's also not, inherently a negative one. So in Ghost Recon Wildlands, you play as a ghost sent into Bolivia, which has become the world's first ever narco state, led by this guy El Sueño, this big, bald-headed, tattooed villain who runs the country with an iron fist, with the idea of producing vast amounts of coca and cocaine to sell globally, and basically, live the life of Riley as, this arsehole dictator. And, therefore, it's super justified that the ghosts go in at the request of the CIA to basically put an end to El Sueño's hold over the country and end his production of cocaine. That's a fairly Tom Clancy-esque concept, but what it results in is you doing what I'm doing right now in the video, which is traveling around this really, really beautiful country, which is it's huge. The open world in Ghost Recon Wildlands is mind-bogglingly large. Everything from lush mountains and jungles to barren salt flats and cities and villages and everything in between. It has a real sense that this is an entire nation that you're playing in, and often the best way to get around the nation I found is in helicopters and in aeroplanes, which is easy enough to hijack and to get a hold of in this game. But basically you're going from A to B, usually with the idea of disrupting the production of cocaine in some form or another, which usually is blow something up or kill someone, because it is a Ghost Recon game. I think what you can see when you're looking at this is that it's sort of like they've gone Ghost Recon cross with the Division in a big open world, and that is an accurate, if slightly reductive, statement to describe the game. So, as you can see here, Far Cry-esque elements. I'm tagging enemies, I'm lining up shots, I'm syncing shots with my AI partners in the video, or of course, the other big element of this game is the drop-in, drop-out, up to 4-player co-op experience. That's where the fun is really had in Ghost Recon Wildlands. It's clearly been designed with co-op in mind at the top of that priority list, and there is nothing wrong with that. However, I had plenty of fun playing single player, maybe not quite as much fun as playing with friends, because it's the silly sort of crazy anarchy that can derive from those sort of emergent gameplay experiences. But you've got lots of sort of RPG light elements, you've got upgrading elements, you've got the gunsmith sort of how do you describe this, like customizing your weapons concept from the previous Ghost Recon games, where it blows out the gun and you can pick all the various parts and customize it to your heart's content, and then pick where you want to go on the map and basically just play the game in any order. I mean, after the sort of initial area of the game is dealt with, you can go to something really, really difficult immediately, and the big map gives you all these different sort of lieutenants and sub-lieutenants that work up this sort of chain of command, so until you sort of finally reach El Sueño. And what you're also doing as you're going around the map, you're getting skill points, you get unlocking abilities, you're finding gun parts, you're finding new weapons entirely. And unlike, let's say, the Division, where the loot was randomized, the loot in Ghost Recon Wildlands is specific. So those things are all on the map. So if you wanted to, it's really easy. I did do this. It's really easy to look up online the location of, say, a really nice sounding sniper rifle that you want to have fun with, and just go there. Fly straight there in your helicopter, jump out, take the weapon, it'll auto-save, and then even if you die, because it's a particularly high area, you'll respawn somewhere with the gun. It's sort of a layers of systems designed, these emergent open world games are layers of systems designed to be broken by the player. And that's cool. However, like I said, the world is fun, the environment is pretty, there's plenty to do. That's never the problem. One of the biggest problems with Ghost Recon Wildlands is the writing and the characterization of the story. It is so cookie cutter and so basic and so thinly layered upon the experience that it's a joke. Some of the writing is really, really bad. It's almost like they ran out of time, or they couldn't get professional voice actors. At one point, my gang of ghosts were talking about how to best torture people, as if it was totally justifiable and fine. And, you know, I couldn't decide on the tone with Ghost Recon Wildlands. This has been developed by, I believe, Ubisoft Paris. And, you know, the French can be quite critical and satirical, especially about Americans. And it felt like this game at times was trying to have sort of a commentary about that. It was trying to sort of poke fun at the Americans' idea of policing the world, and how their violence was justified, and how you know, it was all sort of well and good for the bad guys to be doing this and being persecuted and punished for it. But when the Americans did it, that's okay because they're the good guys. But I'm not actually 100% sure that is what's going on, or if it's just a poorly translated sort of mishmash of ideas that don't quite come together, and that maybe it's like they were writing it and it was amazing in French or whatever, but you know, in the English translation actually they got, you know, the janitor to do the BO and it didn't quite work. Look, there's a lot to like in Ghost Recon Wildlands. There's a lot of fun to be had here if you're in the mood for a military shooter with a big open world. And frankly, I enjoy that stuff. I really do get it. But at the same time, there is so little here to make it stand out from its brethren, to make it set apart from the Division, you know, when it comes to the military shooter. Set it apart from an open world experience when you look at Horizon Zero Dawn or a myriad of other Ubisoft titles, such as the Assassin's Creed series. So, because of these factors, you can't really sort of point at this and go, that's a game you should get, that's an amazing experience, because it just isn't. It doesn't stand out, it isn't memorable, the story is forgettable, the gunplay feels great, the fact that it's more of a leaning towards realism, so you can go down quite easily, that enemies drop very quickly, that headshots are a thing, that bullet drift is a thing over long distances with the sniper rifle, which is what I love to use the most. You've got, you know, the inclusion of modern tech with drones and tagging and things like that, which is feels very Ghost Recon-y. It's also a step back from the future war sort of side of the Ghost Recon universe where we were at in the previous game, which I kind of miss. I like that really advanced, bleeding edge sort of future tech that was seen in that game. It's much more grounded now and realistic to the moment we're in right now, globally, with the technology being employed here. Of course, though, things are still taken to extremes, and liberties are definitely taken as well when this game, you know, the tech that's used and things like that. However, I enjoyed my time. I'm not going to give it a ringing endorsement, but I think Ghost Recon Wildlands sits firmly in the 3 out of 5 star category.
BXB. It's in the game.